Hello Reborners, my name is Karen and this is Making Dolls with Karen. You'll notice right away I'm a little different from other artists. I have very, very short hair. It's usually shorter than this even because, well, I keep it very short because I wear a CPAP at night and it sort of messes with your hair and your head and pulls your hair and you can't sleep, so I cut my hair off. Anyway, besides that, I have a different approach to making dolls than most other people have. I try to use the most straightforward way that you can and the easiest, most simple way to make a reborn doll. And if you've never made a reborn doll and you want to learn an easy, straightforward, repeatable process that will make you a nice looking baby every single time, then you've come to the right place. I do heat set. I don't do air dry. I have experimented with air dry several times, and I'm in the process of trying a new air dry paint, but I have not mastered it yet. So I'm going to teach you how to do it with heat set. So get you a pen and a pad of paper so you can take notes and write down your list of what you're going to need to have to make a reborn doll. Now this is a realistic look at things that you're going to need to make a reborn doll. I don't recommend buying starter kits or bundle packs. They just give you a lot of things that you can buy so much cheaper somewhere else, and their price is usually heavily inflated. So I'm going to be telling you what you need and where you can get it for the cheapest amount of money. So we're going to get started with this first video. We're going to cover a lot of things you need to make a reborn doll. So, of course, you're going to need doll kits. I'm going to get out a kit that's under, just one out of my box under here, just any old one. Let's see who I pulled out. It is Liam. Liam is a kit from Bountiful Baby. He is a artist kit. They also have what they call Reborn kits. The artist kits are just kits that somebody, and he is very dirty. See, they come from the factory kind of dirty. See all that dirt on the side of his head? They come from, artist kits are just somebody sat down with some clay and molded out a doll kit from imagination, basically. And a Reborn kit is, and that is a trademark name that Bountiful Baby has. No other company that I know of does this. They actually scan real babies with 3D scanners and 3D cameras. They take pictures and they make a 3D copy of the baby, and then they mold out kits from it. And they are actually modeled after a real live baby. And but these little artist kits are just someone's little imagination of what a cute baby would look like. And this is Liam, and as you can see, like I said, he's very, very dirty. But you're going to need some kits, and I recommend getting at least your starter kits from Bountiful Baby. The ones you're going to learn how to make on, because they're very, very affordable. If you look every day on Bountiful Baby, eventually you're going to find some kits that are $19.99 or something like that, and you can afford them. That's about what this kit cost. And so you can basically afford to get 3 or 4 of them because they're very, very cheap. And then you're going to need bodies. They sell those too. I only get my bodies when they're on sale. They come in a little plastic bag like this, and they'll have the number of what body number it is. And they have a corresponding body for just about every kit. Some of them, they actually don't carry anymore, so you have to get an alternate body. But any kit that's between 18 and 20 inches can pretty much take a 19-inch body. They almost always have a 19-inch body. We can cover bodies in another video as to which one you'll need for which kit. But this is basically the 2 main things you're going to order to make a doll kit is going to be kits and a body. And then, of course, you've got to have paint. They come in jars about this size. They do have smaller jars and bigger jars. I have bought things in as big of a jar as this. I don't recommend you get their starter pack of paints either. Now you could, but there's some paints in there you probably won't use, especially at first. I use basically these colors. I use blue, and I use the vein blue because they have another blue that's called, well, they have two or three blues actually. They have one that's called ultramarine blue, but it's just so dark. I don't use that one. Some other artists do. And they have another one, phthalo blue, I think it's called. It's too sky blue. I don't use that one either. I use the vein blue. It's a dark teal colored almost color. And it's good for many different things. And I don't have to mix anything with it. It's a pre-mixed color. And I use pre-mixed colors almost exclusively. I am not a mixer. So you'll need vein blue. And you'll need, if you want to use yellow. Some people use it, some people don't. Yellow is mostly used for little fat areas on the doll. I don't use primary yellow. I use raw sienna. And raw sienna is a brownish yellow. It's very pretty on your doll, and it just makes a lovely finish. I hardly ever use yellow. And then I have a purple. I use eyelid purple. They have another one that's called creases, which is sort of in between the color of eyelid purple and the color of the blush. It's sort of a reddish purple or a purplish red. I don't really know how to put it, but I don't really use that one. I did used to, but I don't use that one anymore. I only use the eyelid purple. It's just a purple. And you'll need, these are all pre-mixed colors. They have a name. They're not just, you know, red or blue or green. They're pre-mixed colors that have an actual name to them. Okay, we're going to cover the blush last because it's now a special color. You'll need a fleshy color. And the flesh colors start at, they have a color number. They're called Flesh 02, Flesh 03, Flesh 04, like that. And they go from 02 all the way up to 08. And then they have another one called Baby Skin. I just went straight in the middle. I zeroed in on this one by starting with the lightest color, which is Baby Skin. That's what you'd get if you ordered a set of paints. You'd get the Baby Skin. But I thought it was too pink and too light. It just made pale, pale, pale babies. And I like my babies to be a little bit darker. So anyway, I went then to 08 and then 07 and then 06. And when I got to 05, it was kind of what I wanted. It's halfway in the middle. And so that's the color I use. It looks dark in the jar, but it's not going to make your baby that dark. So 05 is the flesh color I use. And then we have to have, I use two different blushes. One is a warm color, and it's sort of this color. And the other one is a cooler color, and it's sort of this color. This is called warm blush. That's what it's called. Now, my blush for the cooler blush is a color that I mix. When Genesis was still in production, it was spot on perfect right. But when Jim and I took over Genesis, the blush color was just too pink for me. So I abandoned that, and I started using this color right here instead. It's called Quin. I'm just going to hold it up and let y'all see it. I cannot pronounce that color. It's a very dark purpley red, but it's also too pinky when you mix it up. So I have to add a little bit of blue. And that's the extent of me mixing colors. I do not mix colors. You don't want to mix so much in there you turn it purple. You want it to be a deep bloody color, like real blood would be, not pink. And that's the colors that I use to make my dolls. Beyond that, I don't branch out into any other colors. And if you're wanting to do modeling on your doll, you use the same colors that you use to paint the doll. You want to do washes, you want to do thicker paint, it's all the same colors. And I do not mix because it is just a can of worms. Every time you mix, you're going to mix a different color, so it's not repeatable. And even when you're mixing the pre-mixed colors, they're going to be slightly different, darker or lighter, but that's not so bad. You just make sure you don't run out of paint before that you have enough to paint the doll you're currently working on before you need to mix any more. And okay, so you see they're kind of watery. So okay, so you're going to need those paints for sure. And if you want any other colors, I can't advise you too much. I can advise you a little bit on what to mix together to make certain colors. But I just don't. I just don't mix because it's too sporadic. You're also going to need something that I call thinning medium. It's what it's called, thinning medium. We use this to thin the paint a little bit. And I also use something called Exodus oil. All these paints that I've mentioned to you, you can get from Bountiful Baby. And occasionally they have a 40% off sale, and you can get them a lot cheaper. And I use a lot of this. That's why I get it in such a big container. Every color gets it. And the Exodus oil comes from McPherson's Arts and Craft. It's a Canadian company. And but they're very fast at sending it. So, I mean, this is very, very valuable for mixing paint. It liquefies that paint down where there's no lumps in it and just makes it creamy and smooth and very, very usable. I highly recommend it, and it lasts a very long time. Now, you'll also need, of course, paint brushes and sponges. Okay, the sponges I use, I don't know what anybody else uses. I see them using them on camera, but they don't go into any detail about what they use. And I'm going to explain sponges to you right now. This sponge is Swisper's Jumbo Cosmetic Wedges. You want these big ones. You don't want them little, tiny, skinny ones. They're just too little. But I get this kind. And then I tear them where the top part is torn off. And it's raggy looking up here. And you do that because you don't want square shapes on your doll. This leaves a more feathered out look. I don't know how to put it really. But anyway, you'll have to use one for every color. And these sponges are different. I got these from Dolls by Sandy. If you're writing down these companies, all you need to do is Google them, and they'll come right up, and you can go on their site and find them. These sponges cost more than these sponges, but these are absolutely spot on the right thing. I get these because they're cheaper. I paid $2 for this pack of like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 sponges. So that's like 20 cents a sponge. That's not too bad. And this one you get 16. The price varies depending on, I get them from Amazon because it's the cheapest place. And the price varies depending on what vendors have them at the moment you need sponges. When I see them cheaper, I buy a lot more packs than when I see them expensive. But you got to have them. These are very dense, kind of like these teardrop shaped ones are that people put makeup on with. And they're not good. I use these for modeling sponges only, because you only need to stamp a little pattern on your doll to model. You don't need the paint to really release thickly. These dense ones, they're real hard and dense. They hold the paint too tight. So they're not good to paint with. And you can't rip them. They just won't rip. You have to cut them with scissors, and they won't get raggy. So I don't use them to put paint on. I only use these to put the paint on. They're soft and airy, and they work a whole lot. Excuse me, I have hiccups. They work a whole lot better. They give your, if you could see them up close, they have these airy spaces in them. And when you dab them on your doll, of course they're going to be torn, but still, when you dab them on your doll, they're going to leave something that almost looks like pores. And it's very beneficial. It gives a nice finish to your doll. Anyway, you need these. And I use these because they're cheaper. What I do is when I pounce the paint onto the doll, it's a little bit too thick and spotty looking. So I use this to smooth it out. These are cheaper, so I use them a little bit for that. You don't have to have them. You can do it all with these. And the brushes, I do use brushes. And when I say I use brushes, I use brushes. I don't buy those expensive brush sets that the doll sites have, because while they are good brushes, and I have some expensive brushes, they're not that much better than these. And these are very affordable. These are called Royal and Langnickel Crafter's Choice brushes. And they come in a lot of different sizes. These that have individual barcodes on them, I bought single like this. But you can also get them in a big set. They come like 15 of them to a set, and they're all different. This is one of the most ones I use the most. I have mostly this size. It's the 1/2 inch mop brush. They also have a little 1/2 inch flat brush. They have quite a few little brushes in that set. They have round ones. They have all kinds. And it's going to be every size of brush that you're going to need. They even have some that are similar to this highly expensive brush that I bought just for reborning. This one was highly, highly expensive, probably more than the whole 15-piece set of these others. And I do have a few of these purple handle brushes. They are not Royal and Langnickel. They're not as good. They are still good, but almost all of them are flat. So if you don't want flat brushes, don't order those. Anyway, if you Google Royal, write this down, Royal and Langnickel, Crafter's Choice, Simulated Camel Hair 15-piece set. These will come up, and they're only the ones with the gold handles are like these. The rest of them are crap. And there'll be a variety of different places you can get them from at a variety of different prices. Now, the reason I have so many is, which we will cover later, is because of the special way I use my brushes. I also have a kabuki brush for each color. And you see this says blush on it. So all these brushes right here I use for blush. I have another one with blue brushes. I have another one with purple brushes. Every color that I use has their own brushes. And that's because I do not wash my brushes. And there's a reason for that, and I'm going to tell you right now. Paint thinner is very bad on your brushes, and we use that to make our heat set paint thin enough to use. And what it does is it will eventually run down through this little metal part down here, and it'll start eating away at this little plasticky, rubbery grip right here. And once that falls off, this top will come off. And then you have to try to fix your brush. Either glue it back on or something. Sometimes it'll actually run all the way down to here and make the whole entire handle break off your brush. So your brush will get destroyed a lot quicker if you're washing them a lot. So I don't wash mine. I only use these brushes for blush. So every time I put them in the blush, they're getting the same color put on them, so it doesn't hurt a thing. And I used to wash them, but they just wear out a lot faster if you do. Anyway, so I have a little container with brushes for every color that I use. And I use only those brushes for that color. And since the brushes are pretty cheap, you can get a 15-piece set for like $8.99 or something. You can really afford to do that, you know. You don't have to get that many brushes at one time. You can get a pack at a time, however you want to do it. But Office Supply is one place I got them. There's several different places. If you just Google the brushes, you'll find a lot of different places that sell them. Walmart used to sell them, but they quit carrying them. I don't know why. Maybe Walmart's in other cities have them, but they don't have them here. Anyway, I also use pencils. And what I use is, and you can get these from several different places. I use the Prismacolor Premier pencils. Bountiful Baby sells them, but only in hair colors. And I use this one to vein my doll, because pencil veins work really, really well. You'll see it when I'm making dolls, probably in Liam's video. Liam's going to be the one we do for our video together to learn how. This Prisma pencil is called Aquamarine. It's the color that I use to vein my doll. And you can get Prismacolor pencils much, much cheaper if you go to Jerry's Artorama. Just Google that name and it'll come up. And if you buy a pencil from them, it's $1.39. If you buy it from Bountiful Baby, it's like $2.89 for one pencil. And if you buy as many as 12, and they don't have to be the same color, they can be a wide variety of different colors. If you buy 12, they're $1.29. So I bought pencils. I bought all the color pencils that I thought I would use on my dolls. And I have them over here in a container next to me. Anyway, I use this one called Aquamarine. It's the spot-on right color that I think for veins. I was going to use turquoise, but it was too dark. And so I use Aquamarine. I also use this pencil to crease my doll. Most people use purple, but I think purple is not good. I don't like that color. So I use this one. It's a reddish brown color. Some people use red, some people use brown, some people use purple, and some people even use blue. I don't know why, but those are not colors I like on my doll. And so I tried a lot of different pencils. In fact, I have several colors of blue, several colors of purple, browns, all different colors. But when I got this pencil, I liked it the best. And I have several colors of reddish brown pencils too. This one's called Henna. And to me, it's the right color for creasing your doll. You just go in these little creases and you just highlight the creases, and pencils work great. I also have hair colors, which I don't hardly pencil hair anymore since I'm rooting, but you can pencil hair. To pencil hair, if you want brown hair, I use Sandbar Brown is one of them. I use 3 colors because hair is not usually one flat color. And I use light umber and dark umber. And dark umber is closest to brown that I get. Light umber's in between the Sandbar Brown. And I was going to try to pull one out, but I just don't know if I can find one. That's purple. These colors, you can't even hardly tell what they are. That's black raspberry. That's some of the colors I ordered when I was trying to zero in on the colors I like. Let me just get my whole little thing out here. This will be a little easier. Here's my pencils. This must be light umber. Yeah, this is light umber. It's sort of a very light brown. See the difference in them? And then I use dark umber, which is a darker brown. And I don't use chocolate or espresso. They tend to rub off on your fingers, and as you're touching your doll and turning the head, you're putting fingerprints all over your doll. These are some of the pencils. Some of these are pencils I used in the past for hair colors and vein colors and things like that. Here's dark umber right here. So you see they get progressively dark. And I put this one, then this one, and then this one on the top. And that makes dark hair. Now, if you want light hair, you're going to need, if you want blondish hair, you're going to need beige. I use these 3 colors for blonde hair. Of course, I always start with this color right here. And then I put some light umber, just a little, and then I put blonde. Because if you just try to do this beige color all by itself, I tried it on a doll one time, and even after baking it, it just faded away, and I had to keep putting it on and keep putting it on and keep putting it on. It was just insane. So I make sandy blonde hair now. I don't make that whitish looking blonde hair that a lot of people make. But anyway, you can get your pencils at Jerry's Autorama. I even got this little pack of pencils right here that are called blenders. They don't have any color in them, and the points are just white. And what you do is if you're making your lines on your doll and they're too dark, you can use that blender to sort of spread it. And I don't use them much because they don't work all that well. I'll tell you when we're doing the creases how to get your creases just right. Okay, so pencils. Let's see. You will need a variety of different glues. One of the glues that I use is Loctite super glue, and there's 2 kinds. Don't get them confused. Here's the 2 kinds. I bought this one by accident. This is the one I want. This one's the gel. It's spot on, thick enough that you can put it on the end of a toothpick and swipe it across your doll. I use it to attach eyelashes because I don't root eyelashes. I have in the past, and it's just, it's blicky. So I just use the kind you glue on. But this one is too runny. It'll run all over your doll, and you know what super glue does. It makes shiny, ugly marks on your doll, and you don't want it to run. So I only use this one. Since I bought this one by accident, I have been using it, trying to use it up to set the pacifiers with. And we'll cover that when we cover pacifiers. But anyway, this is the one you want, the one in the blue bottle. And I also bought this to try to glue the hair, but it's a nightmare. Don't use this. Eileen's Tacky Glue. It's a nightmare to use. It's just a nightmare. What I use to do the hair is Mod Podge. It pours like Elmer's glue. I'm not saying use Elmer's glue, but I'm not sure that Elmer's glue wouldn't work. But you can just pour it in the head and then use a paintbrush. I use these little throwaway paintbrushes, which you can get at Walmart. Very, very cheap. And I just dibble it around in the head until all the hair's covered. So that, yeah, you need that. I also use pointy swabs. If you have the round kind already in your bathroom and you want to use those, it's fine, but these work a little better because they get down in the little crevices a little bit better than a round one would. And so I also use toothpicks for a variety of different reasons. You know, they're just real cheap at Walmart. All these things like these little throwaway brushes, these little pointy swabs, these little toothpicks, you can get them at Walmart. You can also get these little craft sticks. I use them to mix paint and stuff at Walmart. But these came from Dolls by Sandy. And this whole pack of 50, oh my goodness, a whole pack of 50 was 50 cents. They're on clearance. They also have another pack that's more like a popsicle stick. These are a little bit big, but they still work. But, the whole package was 50 cents on clearance. They have another pack that's $2. So they're plenty cheap at Dolls by Sandy if you want to get them there. And I use these little jars. This is like a little jelly jar, those little quilted jelly jars that you can get over in the Canon section. This is Ball, but Mason has them, and they even have a Great Value brand, I think, or a Mainstays or something. And you get like 12 of them for $8. You can't even get them that cheap at the Dollar Tree. And I also have bigger ones for the paints that I use a lot more of. Excuse me. I save my tape rolls when they're empty, you know, when I'm mailing dolls. I like this Easy Start tape because it peels easy. But I save these rolls when they're empty because when you're working on your doll, especially when you're finished with your doll and you want to put the glue on your doll and you don't want any part of the doll to touch the table, you can just put it on there like that. And it just holds it, and the glue can dry and everything, and you don't have to worry about any glue coming out this hole after you put the glue in the head. It just works. And so I use that. I have a little pencil sharpener. Don't get fooled by companies telling you that you need to get those special pencil sharpeners for Prisma pencils because they don't even work as good as this little 69-cent one I got at Walmart. You're going to need paint thinner. There are many kinds of paint thinner. There's that Mona Lisa, which is highly expensive. And also Gemini sells one. Bountiful Baby sells Gemini paint. And they sell one as well. But I put my bottles up, so I can't show you my bottle. But I get the kind that Walmart sells. Over in the paint department, it's just a big bottle that says paint thinner on it. And don't get the green kind. That green kind is no good. It gums up in your brushes and you can't get it out. It needs to be clear like this. It looks like water, but it's not. And I use these little barbecue sauce or ketchup bottles that you use when you grill out to squirt it into my paint thing. Yes, it stinks, okay? And the others claim to be odorless, but I detect an odor. It's not quite as strong, but it's almost as strong. And I tell people, here's a great way to get rid of the smell in your paint thinner. Fill up your little bottle, take the lid off of it, and sit it outside for about 2 hours. A lot of that smell will just evaporate, and then it doesn't smell nearly as bad. It's almost the same as the other kind. Okay, if you're going to make pacifiers yourself, you can buy them, but you can also make them. You'll need pacifiers. You'll need magnets, and you'll need glue. I use hot glue for that because it's quick and it glues it down pretty well. And this is the magnet that goes inside the head. It's a big one. I don't have any small ones to show you, but they're just smaller. Now, you need these really, really strong magnets, and a lot of places sell magnets. Nobody sells better ones than Bountiful Baby. This big one will cost you $3.49 unless you get it on sale. Right now, they have them on sale for $1.79, so I'm going to be buying some more. I have this many stuck together here. But I make a lot of dolls, hundreds and hundreds, as a matter of fact. And so I just put something metallic up here on the wall to stick them to. And they just stick there. You'll need a few little tools. I have a whole little thing up here full of tools. Let's see. I have a toothbrush. I use that when I root hair. You can see hairs in it. You can probably see there's some hair stuck in it. I have these little clippy scissors, which come in handy. I have, well, I have a hole punch, but you know what? I hardly ever use it anymore. I was using it for some other purpose. These are hemostats. They're like what doctors use, except they clip in the middle here. And that was driving me nuts. Because every time I try to use them and, you know, close them like this, they'd lock. So I had my son grind with his grinder, grind off that little thing that makes them clip together. And now they're much better. They're just clippers, long like tweezers. And if you need to pull the stuffing out of your doll's head or something, you need something long like this to do it with. And I have several sizes of scissors and nail clippers. Nail clippers are great. They cut the zip ties super good, and they don't leave any jagged edges. If you cut them with scissors, they're jagged. They feel sharp, and these cut them smooth and straight. I also have needle nose pliers. I used to use these a lot more when I didn't have hemostats. I don't hardly use these anymore because I have these. But these are good too. And also came with it in the same set was a little set of nippers. If you ever have to cut any zip ties or anything, these are pretty good for that. You can also use your nail clippers sometimes for that. I have several different sets of tweezers. They're great for holding the lashes when you're trying to put them on the doll. I bought them because they were cheap. I have this cutter, but don't use this on your dolls. I just use this to open boxes. It's way too big. If you use this on your doll, you're going to end up cutting more vinyl than you want to. To cut on your doll, you need one this size. These came in a set together, and this one is the right size, or an X-Acto knife would work too. And you use these to cut the eye sockets open to put the eyes in on the open-eyed dolls. Let's see, what else do I have in there? Let me look. I have lots of other little tweezers and things. Here's a pencil. I don't even know how that got in there. That's a dark umber pencil. Let me put that over there. I have some little other brushes that I don't even use. These are makeup brushes. I used to use them a lot, but they just really break down quick because they're not meant to have any sort of paint thinner or anything like that on. They're just for makeup. Anyway, these are the tools that you'll mostly use. I also have a heat gun, and people used to use heat guns to heat set paint up and cure it. But there's no control really on that. You don't know if you're doing it long enough or hot enough or direct enough on one spot, but I use mine for a different purpose. I took another artist's advice and just went on eBay and bought the cheapest one I could find. It doesn't matter if it's used. All it matters is it turns on and it works. This one has no temperature control whatsoever to it, but I'm not trying to heat set my doll. I'm just trying to dry the paint. And it's very good if you're doing things like, you don't have to have this. I only recently got this, and I've been making dolls for like 8 years. But you only, if you're trying to make, let's say, a baby scratch on your doll, and it has to be done in layers. And if you don't have something to dry the paint, you have to wait until the paint gets dry to put the next layer on. So I just heat it up with the heat gun, and it dries it right out. Anyway, let's see, what else do I need to cover? I save little things like this to mix paint. Oh yeah, another color of paint you're gonna need, this reminded me of it, is the nail tip. It tips the nails. Here's a doll I just finished with, and you can see I tipped her nails. It tips the nails, and I mix it in one of these little lids because you need only the tiniest crumb of paint to tip nails. And you'll waste a lot of paint if you try to mix a lot of it. Let's see. I may come across some more things I'm not thinking of to tell you that you need later. Oh yeah, pacifiers. When you're making your pacifiers, you buy a pacifier and you have to cut this little nipple off, and then you put the magnet right where the nipple was, right there, and glue it down. And then you have to have some sort of felt or flannel or some sort of thick soft cloth to put over the top of that so it doesn't scratch the baby's lips and scratch off the paint. Or you can buy the kind that are already made, which I have decided, if you get the sale ones, are pretty much about the same price to just buy this one as this to make that other one. By the time you buy the fabric and you use hot glue, and you buy a pacifier, and you buy, you know, all that stuff to make it. You could have bought this one, and it comes with a magnet. And the best part is you can unscrew this little part right here and turn the magnet around the other way in case the baby doll's magnet's the other way. I buy eyes and eyelashes. I get them from Dolls by Sandy. They're about the cheapest you can get and still look like normal eyes and eyelashes. For the eyelashes, I buy the set that has the upper and the lower in it, because you can actually take those lower ones and just put them right on your doll, and they're just the right length. The upper ones are too long. You have to cut them a little bit. They just look too like false eyelashes. But anyway, that's what you need. Basically, we'll come across some, I keep things like paper towels, baby wipes sometimes, puppy pads are invaluable. You put a puppy pad, you know, those little training pads you let your little puppy pee on before they are housebroken. They soak up a multitude of spills. So if you spill your paint, which you're going to do one time or another, you're going to spill your paint. It just soaks it right up. Otherwise, it's running everywhere. But I cover mine with paper towels, because changing this paper towel is a lot easier than changing the entire table. So I put puppy pad underneath in case of a spill, and I put paper towels on top for incidental marks. And let's see, what else? That's all I can think of right now that I can go over with you of things you're going to need. Most everything I get somewhere else. Oh, polyfill and glass. Now, people weight their dolls with a variety of different things. Some people use poly pellets, which are just little round, almost like plastic balls. They're in Beanie Babies and stuff like that. And other people use steel shot, which is like BBs almost, which I don't feel comfortable putting that in my doll. It's metal, and metal can have a reaction to vinyl and make a stain inside. And if it makes a stain inside, it could, in my opinion, transfer to the outside. So I don't use anything metallic in my dolls. I don't think it's a good idea. But people use it. I don't know why. I don't know if they get it cheaper. I don't know. But there's a lot of different places you can buy your glass as well. The glass I use is little glass beads. They look like tiny marbles. Tiny. They're about the grit, same grit as sand. If you look at them, they kind of look like white beach sand, but they're not. They're glass. Now, there's two different kinds of glass. One is like shards. It's like little, it's just where they take glass and just crush it in a crusher, and whatever shape it comes out to be, that's what it is. And then there's the beads. You're going to want the beads. For one thing, the shards are sharp, and they could eventually cut through your doll. And when you're weighting the legs, you're going to just pour it straight in here. It's not going to be in any sort of a container or anything. So if it's, you know, people are pressing on the leg or moving the doll around, eventually they could cut through the doll. I don't think they will, but they could. And not only that, they have a lot of dust in them. I used to use that kind because it was cheaper, but it's just not a good idea. The one you want is going to be little round, almost like, if you looked at them under a microscope, they would resemble a marble, kind of. And it says on the container, beads, instead of crushed glass. But now, Bountiful Baby sells it, but it's expensive. If you get it from Harbor Freight and you make sure you get the beads, it's much cheaper. You get 50 pounds for about $69. That's a little over $1 a pound. But at Bountiful Baby, they're $3.99, I think, a pound. You get a little 1 pound bag, and it's like $3.99, I think. And that's too expensive for my blood. But anyway, you'll need, I actually get two 50 pound buckets at one time, because I use, oh yeah, you'll need these little stockings too. You can use knee-high hose, but these work better. They are little trouser socks that people wear when they wear dress pants. And I use one of my 50 pound buckets to fill up pre-measured amount into these. I scientifically determined what amount you needed to make your doll 4.5 to 5 pounds, and a lot of it's gonna depend on things like the size of the kit and stuff. But this is about the right amount, and then you cut off the top. This is the top of it, and you make a little stocking hat for your baby. And then after you've rooted the hair, this is a smallish one, and this baby's got kind of a big head, but still, it goes on. It does go on. It goes on easier when they're already painted. But it is very tight, and it's supposed to be, because it needs to hold their hair down. And that's what it does. It holds the hair down. I can't get it on this slick baby. After you've sealed them and everything, they're not that slick. But anyway, yeah, I make these up ahead of time with one bucket of my glass. And the other bucket I use to fill the arms and the legs and stuff. This goes in the body, by the way. And let's see. And I buy my polyfill. I just Google it on Walmart.com, and it comes up, and I get a 20-pound box for like $59. I don't know. And that's about as cheap as you can get. That kind Bountiful Baby sells, they want you to think it's better. But y'all, you need to remember that all these things that they're telling you on these websites, they're trying to sell you something. And it's not better. In fact, I don't like it as well. It packs too tightly, and you'll waste a lot of polyfill that way. It's more like cotton. It's more like a cotton ball, really. And when they call it angel soft. They want you to think the doll's going to be softer with it, and it's not. Once it's inside the doll, you can't tell any difference. And when you're trying to pack it into the arms and the legs, it takes so much of it, because it really does pack hard. And then it kind of bunches, if you know what I mean. And then your doll becomes smaller over time, because the polyfill, it's like one of those cheap pillows you buy at Walmart, and all the stuff inside the pillow is compressing down over time, and it becomes flatter. It's kind of like that. The polyfill I buy is very, very good. It's just called polyfill. I don't know. Anyway, it's more stiff, and it works really, really good in your dolls, and I like it very much. I have it under my table. As do I my bucket of glass. And if you're going to root your dolls, you're going to need, of course, hair, and you're going to need needles. And I'm going to tell you, when you first start out, it is very hard. I recommend either making ball babies or penciled-haired babies when you first start out. Painting hair is also very difficult. I still can't do it. My hair looks funny when I get finished painting it, so I don't paint it. I either pencil it or I root it. If I know the doll's going to a child, I'll pencil the hair, because kids just mat the hair up so quick, and it's just awful looking, and then they don't like it anymore because it's got that awful matted up hair. But if you know that's like an elderly person's going to get the doll, or a child, it's better to pencil the hair on. And anyway, that's got pretty much the end of this video. The next, we're going to talk about cleaning and sealing our kit. We'll do it on camera, and you'll be able to see how it's done. I usually clean and seal about 4 kits at a time, but I've got some kits over here drying. These just got their glue, and so they're drying. And over here I have a doll I'm already working on, so I only have room to put 1 doll up. So we're just gonna clean and seal Liam. He'll be our test kit. He'll be our follow along kit for this video series. I hope that this was informative, and that you got a good idea of everything you need to make a doll. Oh yeah, you need zip ties. Eventually you're going to need some zip ties. Most of the bodies come with zip ties. Some of them from other companies, and I'm not Bountiful Baby. I get mine from Bountiful Baby because they're just high quality bodies. I'm going to show you this body. Compared to, I don't have another body from another company to show you, but I'll explain to you how they're different. This body is a 19-inch body from Bountiful Baby, and it comes with zip ties already in it, see? Some of the other companies sell bodies that come with strings, and you don't want to use strings because they loosen. You can't tie them tight enough unless you have help to help you do it. But anyway, these are what they call premium bodies. They're gathered right here at the chest so that once they're stuffed, they actually look like they have a chest. They're also gathered back here at the bottom so they look like they have a little butt. It's really cute. Not only that, as you can see, the leg openings and the arm openings have a little pouch inside there so that when you put the leg in, well, this is backwards. This is the wrong leg. But anyway, whatever is inside this leg is not going to spill out. It's not going to anyway, but this is just an extra added thing that's really good. When you're stuffing your body, sometimes the stuffing will stick out the hole and you're trying to put the arm or the leg in, and the stuffing is showing around the edge here because it's sticking out, and you don't want that. So these are premium bodies. And other bodies, just like this neck is open, the arms and legs are open to the inside as well. And not only that, they're not all gathered. See, here's some of the gathering. They have trimmed down the body right here on the sides to not make it one of those big, fat, balloony looking bodies. I don't like those. I like these. They're more the shape of a real, see, they have these little, I don't know, in clothes you call them darts, I guess. I don't know. But they slim the body down so it's not so bubbly looking. I don't like those fat bodies. They just don't look good on the doll. These look real good. And if you catch them on sale, this is probably a $22 body. But I paid $5.97 for it because it was on sale. And a lot of times I'll just go on and take them out of their packages. I almost exclusively use 19-inch bodies. And I'll go on and start putting together these little zip ties. It makes it a little easier to put it together when you're putting it all together. And I'll just sit here sometimes when I'm doing things, not doing something, I'm waiting for a doll to come out of the oven or something, and I'll do this. I'll just get the zip ties started together like that and have them ready for when I put dolls together. And I have a bunch to put together. Monday's my doll putting together day, and that's tomorrow. So I'll be doing that for a long time probably, because I was out of bodies, and then boom, a sale hit, and I could afford the bodies, so I bought 20 of them. That's how I do it. I buy everything on sale. Now, when you first start out, you can't really do that because you need a body right now, you know. But right now, bodies are on sale. They're not $5 anymore. They're about $8, but still, that's better than 22. And like I said, almost any doll between 18 and 20 inches can take a 19-inch body. There's very little difference, really. And we'll talk about this more when we're talking about bodies. There's very little difference in a 19 and a 20-inch body. This is a 19-inch body, and it's 9 inches from the neck to the crotch down here, if you measured it. You can't hardly measure them when they're empty. They measure them when they're stuffed. And a 20-inch body is only half an inch bigger. What's a half an inch? You can't even tell it when it's on the doll. You can't tell any difference at all. And so I buy almost exclusively 19-inch, unless the 20-inch are on sale, and then I'll get the 20-inch. And they actually have a body that's called a 19 to 20-inch body. It's 19-20-inch, and it's the same exact size. If you read in the description, you'll save yourself a lot of headache and a lot of money. Sometimes that one's on sale, and it's exactly the same size as the 20-inch body. So basically, it makes no difference if you use a 19 or a 20-inch body or the 19 to 20-inch body. No difference, half an inch. And whichever one's on sale, that's the one I get, and it's usually the 19-inch body. Sometimes they're this color. Sometimes they're darker because they're the biracial bodies, but once they're on the doll, some people actually make their own bodies, and they use flannel, and it's got patterns on it. So it doesn't really make any difference what color the body is. But this is the one that's for Caucasian babies. This is the regular body. They have the biracial body, which, like I said, is just a darker brown color. I don't care. I get either one, whichever one's on sale. And this one was on sale, so that's the one I got. But I've used many, many, many biracial bodies, and it doesn't matter. Like I said, other companies sell white bodies and all different colors. They're not even... These are made from doe suede. I'm assuming that means the skin of a doe. I don't know. But some others use flannel bodies. Some other companies use flannel bodies and other kinds of cloth bodies. So the colors are going to be different anyway on those. So it doesn't matter. But anyway, that's pretty much what you need to get started. Some of the things that I've named, you don't really need. Like if you didn't want to buy these popsicle stick things, you can mix your paint with these real cheap paint brushes. I don't mix with paint with my regular brushes because it gets clogged up in the bristles and you have to then clean your brushes. I use these because they throw away. I use this for glue too. Throw it away. Don't have to try to clean it. But anyway, that's the end of this video. And let me see, is there anything else? Oh, your eyes come in sizes too. Almost every doll, 18 to 20 inches, is also going to take 20 millimeter eyes. So when you're ordering your eyes, you're going to want the most of your eyes to be 20 millimeter because almost every doll, almost every one, is going to take 20 millimeter eyes. Occasionally there's one that takes 18, and occasionally there's one that'll take 22. But almost everyone exclusively will take 20 millimeter. I only get brown. They have, some companies have just so many eyes, so many colors, and it's just confusing when you buy that many different colors. I only buy like a regular brown, whether it's called, I mean, there's like 10 different browns, but stick to one color if you can, because that way you don't have to sort out your eyes every time you're trying to pick a color. I only get one color of brown, one color of blue, one color of green. That's all the eyes I use. I don't use oriental eyes, and I don't use any kind of purple eyes or red eyes or any of those other colors that they have. Some that are so starry looking. Oh, I do actually like the newborn gray eyes, but I hardly ever can find those in 20 millimeter. They're almost always sold out, but they look really good in a newborn baby. But anyway, we're going to be making a closed eye baby, so he won't need any eyelashes. I mean eyebrows. But anyway, so I'm going to end this video, and then we're going to begin another video that's going to be cleaning and sealing our kit. And we're going to talk about why we do the things that we do and how we do the things that we do as we go along. So get ready to take some notes, and this is an in-depth follow-along. I'm going to be telling you every little thing. We're going to cover mixing some paint. We're going to cover just everything you can think of, and how we do it and why we do it. So anyway, I'm going to ask everybody to please like, subscribe, and share, and happy reborning.